and then service, because if you don't do
It's a classroom setting and the students in attendance are attentive. They are here to learn not about the 3 R's, but about a new way to think. And it is a comfortable place to question what is. It is put on and sponsored by a group of West Point graduates.
Is an idea from fellow West Point graduates saying, what if we tried to do this seminar where we brought high school students together with West Point cadets to talk about topics around character and values and leadership? What would that look like?
I think one of my favorite authors is Dr. Seuss, and I think he got it right when he said this. He said, "Why fit in when you were born to stand out?"
It starts with a keynote from Nancy Dahl, an accomplished executive who has lived through the electronic expansion.
First of all, I think that the pace of change is exceeding our capacity as humans to digest it. I grew up in a day where you actually could go home and everything would be done. I haven't experienced that for a really long time.
See, this group is getting their eyes open to real issues they will face before they even have to face them. And they will have to ask themselves some gut-wrenching questions as they move into the adult world.
I think it's also important that you understand that what gets associated with you because of the people that you hang out with. And the things that you do, you have choices there as well.
I always think about
They have built it from the ground up, recruiting kids from all over to attend. It's topics that many have been thinking about. But in this arena, there is a comfort level and a quest to learn what it is they do think and why they think it. As the day wears on, the freedom to express becomes a catalyst.
Eventually, I got really into it, and I'm starting to have a lot of fun now. I'm making a lot of new friends and just learning how to be a leader and ways to cope in high school and what we're going to be experiencing in the real world.
That's why they are here, to feel free to express and to learn what is important going forward is not about what college you choose or even a future vocation. It's about walking into life with a set of standards, what you believe in, and what you will and will not do. It is the code at West Point.
It takes discipline, determination, and drive. You have to want to be there. You have to want to succeed. If you don't want to be there, then you're not going to be successful. And it takes a lot of personal discipline and commitment to do well at West Point.
That's where this day gets interesting. The influence of West Point and beyond on current students searching for answers to questions they have not asked. Well, how do you motivate people to have great values and great integrity?
Well, to me at the base level, and sometimes with some of the students, I simply start with self-interest. It may sound contrary that, we often talk about selflessness and community, but the reason those things are important is because they're good for us. And so if you can, if nothing else, you can get the student to understand, this is good for you. Giving up a little bit of maybe your selfishness is actually to your advantage.
The hope is that they're onto something that has wings, a chance to create a culture of wanting to learn the best of West Point and think about what could be.
Before I went to that school, I probably thought it was just a very individual thing and I'm just kind of an island unto myself, and that school showed me that it's more about how you interact with others.
Yep, nice job.
In competition and in arts, we often find who a leader is. It's part of the high school experience, to be able to grow, to sometimes follow, to sometimes carry the responsibility, which begs another question. How do you know what a leader is, and how do you lead when you feel like it's a burden? On this day, all fair questions. What's the toughest situation you deal with in high school?
Seeing when people do things wrong and they're your friend, or when somebody's doing something wrong and you can't speak up.
What do you do?
Before I didn't do anything, but now I know what to do because everybody in my group had a lot of experience, and I learned from that.
Some of understanding yourself is about figuring out who you like to follow.
I ask our juniors to identify a person they think is a leader, and to label, using some of the ideas that we have, some of the theories that we have, label why that person's a leader. That allows them to connect to that historical figure and to see the perspective, and ideally to see the perspective, to realize that maybe the temporary discomfort or suffering that you're experiencing for values, for integrity, in the name of the right thing, will pay dividends down the road, and that sometimes you just have to have faith in that.
Is it possible to designate a leader, to give them responsibility and a template and expect that person to step up? Again, that's why you have days like this.
I think that where the teaching part of leadership comes in is things like this, where you expose them to different scenarios, getting them to push themselves outside their comfort zone, maybe talk about things that they've never talked about.
The high school years are filled with so much emotion, so many things to consider while you try to figure out who you are, where you fit, how to belong. A lot like life.
These topics of character and integrity, they apply everywhere. And any situation, whether you're 16-year-old or 46-year-old, you can use these types of ethical decisions. You're faced with these every day.
Including that D word that is so paramount to life and so difficult to practice every day, discipline.
To me, discipline refers to knowing your commitments and what you've committed to, and knowing that you have to keep those commitments. So it's keeping your commitments and upholding your responsibilities.
It's quite a future for those that choose to do the right things, even when it's not what they want to do. That's what makes this day interesting, that they can find out the price of success is difficult and worth it. So has this been a great day to open your eyes?
I am so happy I got to experience this. I had no idea what I was getting into when I first got asked to come. I was a little iffy about coming because I didn't want to miss a whole day, but oh my, this has been quite the experience. Like, I'm so happy I got this chance.
Life to the Max is brought to you by Life Touch. Photography for a lifetime.